Hey everyone, today I want to share the topic is maternal overcontrol and children's intelligence problems in China, a moderated mediation, and my spider is Professor Li. When considering Chinese parenting styles, you will first think of child mothers due to the emphasis on parent authority and the child's obedience in traditional Chinese culture. Chinese parents tend to be more coercive, restrictive, and controlling compared with North American parents. Although one of the core responsibilities of parents is to regulate child behavior, over-control represents an extreme manifestation of this role. Over-control can manifest as intrusion into the child's decision-making, excessive regulation of the child's routines, and inhibition children's motivation to solve problems independently, or constraint of child's emotions and cognitions. Based on self-determination theory, maternal over-control limits the child's autonomy and always associated with higher children's intelligence problems like anxiety, depression, and social withdrawal. However, much of the evidence conducted in Western countries, according to social ecological theory, the effects of parent over-control on child intelligence problems depend to a large extent on the nature of the parent over-control as well as the cultural context within which it occurs. Therefore, it is necessary to explore the relationship between maternal over-control and children's problem behavior in the context of Chinese culture. And parenting over-control may not only directly lead to children's internalized problems, but may also indirectly lead to social competence deficits and thus contribute to intelligence problems in children. On the one hand, maternal parents who frequently exhibit highly control and low autonomy support may model dysregulated behavior for children to imitate. And for example, children who are overly controlled show higher social anxiety and interpersonal sensitivity and poor emotional social skill. On the other hand, children with poor social competence may have difficulties in understanding and responding appropriately during peer interactions, which can also exhibit children's negative feelings about themselves and others, leading to subsequent intelligence problems. So we hypothesize that poor social competence may partially mediate the association between maternal over-control and child intelligence problems. A growing body of research shows that positive teacher-child relationship is a protective factor for children's social and psychological adjustment. However, children who are unable to form positive relationships with teacher may miss out an important protective figure in their lives. Instead, negative teacher-child relationships, especially teacher-child conflict, may lead to children's social and emotional maladjustment. According to the cognitive risk model, children who exposed to multiple risk factors are much more likely to be susceptible to psychopathology. So, the goal of the current study was to explore the mediating role of children's social competence and the moderate role of teacher-child conflict between national over-control and child internalising problems in young Chinese children. This section looks at the methodology of participants. The participants were 232 children recruited through 2 public kindergartens in Shanghai, China. And the methods maternal over-control were evaluated by observing parent-child interaction. Children and their mothers completed a 15 minutes origami paper folding task at T1. Ratings of maternal over-control were assigned for each minute of the interaction on a 3-point scale, and 4 independent observers coded 22% of the sample prior to coding independently. Second, the teachers from each class rated children's social competence using the Chinese version of SCBE. And the teachers also rated children's internalising problems using the Chinese version of the social skills rating system at T1 and T2. Example items like looks unhappy and pleased. Finally, the teacher reported their relationship with each child using the Chinese version of STRS at T2. The correlation shows that maternal over-control were positively related with children's internalising problem and negatively related with social competence. And social competence were negatively related with internalising problems and teacher-child conflict. This figure shows that maternal over-control was not only directly associated with child internalising problems, but also indirectly related to child internalising problems, where its negative association with child competence. And this table shows that the indirect effect of social competence between maternal over-control and child internalising problems was significantly moderated by teacher-child conflict. As the maternal over-control increases, children's social competence drops off dramatically when they had higher level of conflicts with their teachers. Our study found maternal over-control predict child internalising problems through its association with children's poor social competence. Maternal over-control may undermine children's abilities to engage in positive social interaction, which in turn was associated with higher levels of internalising problems at school, and it reflected the rapid change that has occurred in the perceived value of over-control in China. The indirect path was moderated by teacher-child conflict. The results shows that teacher-child conflict reduces the frequency of teacher-child interaction, which would limit children to develop and use effective social skills to negotiate and navigate challenges. It also can shape children's peer context, leads to peer rejection, and diminishes the child's sense of confidence and self-worth. These results also indicate the important role of that teachers can play in their children's social competence and future adaptation. To summarize, the results of our study shows that children's social competence mediate the effect of maternal over-control on children's internalising problems, and teacher-child conflict reinforces this negative effect. These results are important for identifying children who are most vulnerable to developing internalizing problems in the context of over-controlling parents and high conflict teacher-child relationships in China. There are also several limitations of the current study. First, our longitudinal study involved assessment of maternal over-control at just one time point. Future study could incorporate variant measures at more than one time point. Second, the sample in the present study were children from an urban region in mainland China. Future studies should include families from other regions of China with different demographic characteristics. Finally, our study focused on mothers. Future studies could examine the predictive role of both paternal and maternal over-control behaviors in children's problems behaviors. And this is my representation. Thanks for your listening. Does anyone have any questions?